I play Chef Slowick, who has a fancy restaurant on an island. He has a very upmarket clientele who are paying a lot of money to have an amazing culinary experience. And it has to take the form of kind of a high art. In a rather perverse way, I was sympathetic to the chef. I kind of liked the purity of his vision.
The non-metaphysical answer is a couple journeys to a very exclusive restaurant for a very exclusive dining experience, and things go awry relatively quickly. Oh God, no, I am a takeout queen forevermore. But I definitely learned a lot more about fine dining throughout this film and appreciated the art of what these chefs go through. There's a bit of physical action that wasn't scripted and that was improvised, and Mark and Nick were kind enough to let me go full feral cat and feminine rage on it, and I feel very proud of that moment. I think the whole thing with satire is, if for you as the character you're taking it as seriously as possible, if the stakes are incredibly high, that instantly makes it kind of funny. And the thing about horror is you can't be at a 9 the whole time. That makes it not frightening, that kind of takes you out of it. And so you need to have these ebbs and flows in terms of light and dark. And so that's why I think that horror comedy really works.
Excited. It's so nice to be reunited with everyone. You know, we finished filming this probably a year ago and haven't really seen everyone. So it's nice to all be back together because it was such a beautiful ensemble of people, a really supportive, loving environment to shoot in. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm not really a foodie. It was more that it was a very original script and story, and that Will and Seth had written something that made me laugh or represented a lot of what was going on in society and was scary and gory and bizarre. So I thought it was very different. I play a character called Tyler, who's an obnoxious foodie. He's kind of pathetic, he's irritating, and he is so in awe of Chef Slowick, Ray Fiennes' character. He just adores the fact that he's at this restaurant for the evening, and he's brought Margot as his date, Anya's character. I think everyone's going to take something different away from it, because, you know, each group of diners at the restaurant have different things that's revealed about them, and that that the chef is reprimanding them for, I guess. But also people that have worked in kitchens and artistically or creatively who have felt underappreciated. I think there's a lot to take away from it in terms of the commentary and what it's saying. So people would take different things. I did. I mean, I enjoyed reading a horror and satire movie and dark comedy and all those things. When it comes to the acting, a lot of the time you're not playing those things. You're playing hopefully the truth and the honest moment within that. And because of the ridiculousness of the characters, that's what makes it satirical or funny or horrific in moments.
Exciting. We worked on this film a year ago, so it feels like a big family reunion, and like I'm really proud of the film. I think it's a good movie, and you know, it's not always that you get to really stand behind your work and feel really proud of it, so I feel really good. So I play Felicity, and she is the assistant to a movie star, but what makes her different than most assistants is that she doesn't really need the job. So her mother runs a big studio, and she's leaving to go work at that studio, so she's quitting her job, and he's like a washed-up movie star, so he kind of needs her more than she needs him, and so in that way, it's kind of like an interesting power dynamic. I mean, I love to eat, if that's what you mean, but I don't know I always thought foodies were like people that were like, I don't know, or drinking like, I don't know, goat balls juice. I don't know. I'll try everything once, maybe not goat ball juice, but I just love any kind of food. Like, I don't discriminate. If it's fancy, love it. If it's like cheap fast food, love it. So as long as it's edible, I'm in. There's lots of thrills, but I also think there's like a really powerful social commentary, you know, about consumption, about responsible consumption, about where we are as a culture, our anxieties, what we feel, the eat the rich sort of motif we've been seeing a lot of. So I hope people at the very end will just have a great time, and then maybe the next time they sit down to eat a meal that someone else prepared, stop and think about what went into it.
A washed-up action star who comes to this really fancy restaurant to show off, maybe be seen, maybe we'll talk about him, write him out. You know how actors sometimes do. I really like the dark elements in it. I mean, it's very funny, but it's really dark, and I love dark humor. It's my favorite type. It's hard to do. It's not easy. Well, you take a bunch of despicable people and you give them a comeuppance, and it's that ride to make them pay for their sins. It's like the 7 deadly sins. Everybody, like mine's narcissism and vanity. The other one is greed. You know, everybody's got a different sin. I think they're going to question their lives a little bit, thinking about how do I contribute, how am I complicit in sort of this elitist thing that happens in America. There's sort of a entitlement. Like we have all these billionaires now who are taking over our democracy, our social platforms. It's like, are we on that side or this side? It makes you question that.
So excited. We shot this a year ago, and it feels like, I can't believe that it's here. It feels so quick, and you know, it's so fun to get to see the whole cast reunited, and it's a fun movie. I've heard so many great responses from people who have seen it, and it's funny. It's a thrilling ride and unexpected and surprising. The film is about a renowned chef played by Fiennes, and it's an evening at this very exclusive restaurant that he runs, and lots of things happen. I play Elsa, who is the house manager for the restaurant and sort of the general and right-hand woman of the restaurant for chef. I really relied on the costume and the set, and also just seeing what Reiss was going to do with his character, because my character Elsa really is a devoted follower and acolyte of Chef Slowick. I think the scene between Elsa and Margot, who is played by Anya Taylor-Joy towards the end of the movie, is up there for me.
What was it like working with her?
She's great. She's a total pro and lovely to work with, and so young, talented, and beautiful. I mean, she's got it all. I love food. I don't know if I'm a foodie. I like really basic food, like, you know, spaghetti, meatballs, pizza, that sort of thing. So I hope they just have fun. You know, there's so many things to walk away from the film with, and it's a film that you can watch multiple times. So a lot of different things. I don't want to say just one.
Psyched about this since I first started in on the film. I read the script almost a year ago exactly, and I've been as supercharged about it pretty much the duration. There's nothing quite like it, and you could tell that from the page. And so every step of the way, for me, it's just been loads of fun. I have not seen this story before, so when I read this, that's really the thing that I look for the most in any script. What is novel about it? Like how can I do my job in a way that I haven't heard before? How are the screenwriters and how is the director doing their jobs in ways that I have not seen before? How is the storytelling something that is novel and unique and new? And this is all of those things. The script is beautifully lean and efficient and to the point, and so it practically. Reading it, the music practically wrote itself. I mean, it really is quite codified into the structure of the script itself. So when I was reading it, I heard a lot of influence of the Baroque. I heard quite a bit of an opportunity to do something like. And a lot of times when we're making music and film, we're revealing gradually. This has more of a punctuated structure, and so it allows for moments of extreme revelation, revealing all at once. And so there are a lot of things that I got to do as a composer, using a lot of like very disparate elements from the lavish and the pompous to the grotesque and to the truly like terrifying. And so whenever I get to do something that covers so much ground, I am happy. It is delightful. It is in terms of my part, I feel it's very driving and I suppose we have to say delicious.
I'm excited. You know, it was an honor to be able to be a part of it, and now I'm here, so it's going to be amazing. They gave me the script, and they wanted to find a chef that could help them. I read the script. I'm like, I want to be a part of it. So it was about designing, preparing, working with the actor, refine, and then to create a culinary journey. Working with amazing people. That was the only thing. I got to tell you, it was amazing. It was not a challenge. I think it was about, the thing that we did on the menu, every dishes we did, you could eat it. So we had to do like 10, 12, or 15 takes. So that was a challenge, but it was amazing.
Play this guy named Reiss, and he's a privileged tech guy. He's the sort of guy who walks into the room and just kind of assumes you're better than everybody else. And but the movie is about all different types. I mean, it was really cool filming it because we were all at different tables in the same room every day shooting, and we're all so different. So it's like all in the casting and how we mix together. So me and my tech bros were over here, and the old couple that's been at the restaurant many times. But it didn't feel like a horror film, even though like I was gonna die. It was interesting, like how people went. It was amazing. It felt like doing a play. It really did, because we were all just in the same room with each other, and because it's the camera's over there, but everybody's being captured, and then you don't know what shots they're taking, so everybody always had to be in it, and so it was really challenging actually, but it felt like doing a play, and the ensemble was just amazing, so everyone there could be alive all the time, so it was great.
The film is one of the best scripts I've read in a really long time. I mean, I read this script and I had nightmares that night in the best possible way, because I'm a huge horror buff, but it's also hilarious, which makes it so special. I play Chef Catherine, which is Chef Slowick's, Ray Fiennes' right-hand chef. Well, I feel like it's a conversation about the kind of people who are foodies and maybe the people who spend a little too much money on food and who take it a little too seriously, maybe. So I think it's a commentary on that. I learned a lot because I got to work with Chef Dominique Crenn. She got to train the kitchen staff on how to be a chef, how to act like a chef, the posture, I got to learn how to be a chef from Dominique Crenn, which was amazing.
So excited. We all had so much fun working on this movie. Thus far, it's gotten pretty good reviews, and so we're just thrilled that people get a chance to see it. I read the script and lost my mind because it was that good. It was almost obscenely well written, and it was one of the best things I had read in years, and still is. And so Adam McKay is the other producer alongside of me. We flipped for it, and then it was just about getting Will and Seth to let us produce their film. Working with Ray Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy is like watching a master go to work. I mean, like seeing somebody that's that gifted and that revered do their thing day in and day out is just like a special, memorable experience. I think some people will probably walk away feeling like they need a cheeseburger, if I'm being honest. But I think that, I hope that some people clock sort of the different levels of servitude and exploitation in industries like this. There's so many people that give their bodies and souls to this line of work. So I am not a hardcore foodie. I think gun to my head, I'm probably doing the cheeseburger. But I certainly love going to restaurants like Hawthorne, and it's such those experiences are like, you really see somebody who does something at such a high level for night after night after night, and you have so much respect for it. It's so impressive. I wanted to try some, but it was this different stages of getting this food ready. So by the time people, you can't have a scallop sitting under a heat lamp for 14 hours. So we had to have a food stylist sort of come in and retrofit some of the dishes to make them sort of film friendly. But we tried to do some really fun research dinners ahead of time, you know what I mean? And go to fancy restaurants and be like, how is it?
The script is one of the best written scripts I've ever read. I mean that very genuinely. And I've read The Little Mermaid, so that's saying a lot. It really came to life once we got to set, and everybody's so well cast and gets along so well, so it's really an honor. First of all, an appetite for high-end dining. Just about how we're kind of satirizing how pretentious we can all be as a society. And more than anything, we just want people to have fun, really, that's
A woman who really has sold herself out for what she thinks is going to be a good life and has given up just about everything, in particular her relationship, the way she relates with her husband, her child. And there's a lot of, underneath the surface, a lot of sorrow, underneath a lot of her anger. But what you begin to see is that everybody, and this character for me, that you can watch the transitions of these characters, and that's what I think is so interesting. I wanted to work with Mark. Seth, Reiss, and Tracy wrote this film, and when you read the script, you saw that there was this kind of skeletal placement of all these people, but you knew that there was all this stuff underneath. And how they created that, I have no idea. I mean, that's a quadruple Lutz. Glorious. I mean, really glorious. I mean, connected, warm, team players, all. We were there with each other on set all the time. It was like doing a play. So it was really, we were focused with each other in a very intense way. I've known a lot about that because I'm one of those people who tries to get into the top restaurants. I come from a very different place about that now. There's a different kind of respect and honor for the work and the people who are serving there and what it means and how important our food culture is. And it's not just for magnificent creativity, but it's also for sustenance, and it's very important. And I had a restaurant in Aspen.
Is Dale. He works for the Coast Guard. He doesn't come in until a little bit later into the film, so I don't want to give away too much about the content of what my character is doing, but it is such a great ride in terms of the thrills. They all come at the right time. The laughs come at the right time. It's really a roller coaster of emotions, and I had a chance to see it already before, and it really it delivers. It's great. I think so often if you're trying to get a message across, which satire is always trying to do some sort of message, usually through comedy, combining it with horror, it allows you to mask the message in a way that doesn't always hit you initially, but this is the type of movie that it sits with you, it causes conversations afterwards, because on the surface it's just so fun. But the more you think about what Mark and what the team were trying to say with the message behind it, it sits with you and causes conversation afterwards. Mark in particular, but also the way he is so collaborative. The script in its early form was great, but knowing through early conversation with Mark how he really likes to collaborate and find more than was originally in the script. He encourages improv. It doesn't always make it on screen, but he encourages that collaboration, and I just love that type of environment.
Plot, which is not necessarily what the movie's actually about, but a world-class but very reclusive chef who has this wonderful world-class restaurant on a deserted island invites 12 specially invited guests for a special tasting menu, and mayhem ensues is basically the premise. It was hell, they were terrible. That's obviously not true. It was a total joy. It was literally a dream come true. Rafe is a force of nature. They're both incredible actors, and just the whole way we worked together, we worked like a big ensemble, so everybody was on set all the time, everybody was mic'd up all the time, so everybody was in there all the time, and it was just and the result was really fun. I think the horror thriller element of it is the package we deliver it in. It's the genre, it's how we structure the story. The satire is what happens when you walk out of the movie and start maybe thinking about what were the underlying themes. On the surface, it's just a really fun ride with a lot of laugh out loud dark comedy from a brilliant ensemble cast.
It feels absolutely insane. I'm not going to try to be too cool for school. This is really crazy, and I think we're kind of blown away a bit. Yeah.
I don't think we actually figured it would get made or produced or released, so everything from here feels pretty good. It sort of started with a restaurant that I went to in Norway on an island, and it kind of made me feel very claustrophobic, and like I was trapped on an island eating dinner for 4 hours, and then that seemed like a funny place to set a movie, and then we kind of took it from there.
There was definitely a moment while we were writing where we thought, wow, if Ralph Fiennes agrees to do this, it would be pretty remarkable, because we were sort of, there became a point where we were kind of writing it for him. I'm not going to pretend to get into Ralph Fiennes' head and know what he was thinking at all, but he agreed to do it, so that's yes enough for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people can take away whatever they want to take. I think ultimately, though, if people want to be nicer to the people who serve them food, then lovely. I think that's a positive.
Yeah, tip well.
Tip well.
In a way, they're kind of natural bedfellows, right? I mean, it's. I think we wanted to escalate a situation and make it very tense, and by doing so, revealing a lot about the characters in the movie. So they kind of make sense in a way together.
We're heightening a situation and heightening it and heightening it and heightening it, and in that comes satire.
I play Richard in the menu, and my wife, played by Judith Light, and I have been to this restaurant so many times at $1,500 a pop. We're those people that just do the thing because it's the great thing to do, but they don't really love it. Their lives are sad. So he has big lessons to learn. I loved the part. I loved the fact that I was going to get to be in Savannah for 2 months and be with these wonderful people. John Leguizamo, who I'd never met, is such a great guy. Everybody was great. Janet McTeer, Aimee Carrero, just hilarious, great actors. Our director, Mark Mylod, really helped us find the right tone because it was it was a very, very tricky tone to get, and he absolutely, and our writers, Seth, Reiss, and Will Tracy. I hope they have a really, really good time. How brilliant is it to combine a thriller with foodies? It's so smart.